Your Denver Broncos just get fantastic news that show me we are making a deep playoff run next year as teams across the AFC just keep making mind-bogglingly dumb moves and shooting themselves in the foot. We get great news in the AFC West as two players leave our conference who were pretty good. We get news from an ESPN analyst who says the Broncos are sneaky threats to be the biggest spenders when the league year opens next week. Who could that be on? Who is it definitely not going to be on? That and way more in this video. We're breaking it all down. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you would like and subscribe to this channel. And at the end of this video, I got the sickest new piece of swag, a gift from one of my colleagues that we will be debuting. Just got to dive into so much. So Jeremy Fowler, who's usually a pretty measured ESPN analyst, he's not a hot take artist by any measure. He is very well sourced, and he came out and said, watch out because the Denver Broncos are sneaky threats to be the biggest spenders when it comes to NFL free agency. We know we only have about $43 million in cap space that can be negotiated depending on different renegotiations we can do with guys like Singleton, some offensive linemen. But the fact is that because we have the cash-rich owner of the Walton Penner ownership group, we can really structure deals in a way that make our $43 million go way more because we can front load that and then spread it out over the life of the deal. And it's just an absolutely fantastic place to be in. A lot of us thought one of the moves we might do would be go out and get Zach Bond, who was snatched up yesterday and re-signed as an inside linebacker to the Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm feeling better about that after I see former Denver Bronco Nick Ferguson tweet out this video reminding us just of like what is the actual skill set we are looking for an inside linebacker for the Denver Broncos. That is a position that we have always just crushed and had dudes on there that scare you to even come anywhere near the inside of the trenches. I got chills rewatching this, the Raiders game here in the snow. You know, defenders are already at a disadvantage in the snow because the offensive player knows where they're going to go. So here you have it, 4th and inches, and you just mess around and find out what happens when you come across the middle when you have an inside linebacker like that. When I watch that video, especially when I watch it here on the replay, and I think like, hey, does Zach Bond check any of these boxes? Absolutely not. Like, this is the type of player that we are looking for. And as I think about that Jeremy Fowler report that, watch out, we're going to be big spenders, I can't help but think Dre Greenlaw fits that to a T. Even Nick Bolton, like the way he flies around the field, fits that to a T as well. This is the type of inside linebacker I want the Denver Broncos to go and get. Let me know in the comments how you are feeling about that. We have another Vegas book come out and make a prediction that the Denver Broncos are actually the top betting market when they set the line, and we know Vegas does not like to lose money. They are right way more than they are wrong. That's why you'll never see me advertise a sports book on here because they are there to make money, and that's why I just don't even sports gamble in the first place. But the fact that the Broncos are the number 1 team to sign Davante Adams, you were talking a top 20, perhaps a top 10 wide receiver that you could get for a vet minimum. This would be the steal of a century if the Broncos were to somehow get him. There's been a lot of people hitting me up in my DMs and texting me, and I love the question because you've heard now that the Seahawks are rebuilding. You love to see it. Tyler Lockett's moving on. DK Metcalf has asked for a trade, and a lot of people are like, hey, would you like to see DK in Denver? And that could be sick because if I was built like him, I don't think I would ever wear a shirt unless it was just for warmth because he's just so jacked. But what he not only needs a new massive deal that would be like a $30 million per year deal. Diana Rossini came out and said that they're looking for a 1st and a 3rd round pick for him. So he'd eat up a ton of cap space. And I do not want to give a 1st and a 3rd round pick to a guy that I just saw Patrick Surtain absolutely have on lockdown, even though the refs were giving him as many push-offs as he want and just calling ticky-tack fouls anytime Surtain got close to him. So let me know in the comments how you feel about giving up a 1st and a 3rd and then re-signing him to that kind of contract. I don't think that is the case, and I hope the Broncos stay away from that, and I would definitely prefer throwing out a vet minimum for Davante and having the chance at that. And if it doesn't work and blows up in your face, all you're giving up is the vet minimum for him. That could be really cool. Other thing you're seeing, the Jets are giving permission to Alan Lazard, who played with Aaron Rodgers for a long time with the Packers, and he is a favorite receiver of Sean Payton. We got to remember as we're looking at these receivers who are rumored, What does Sean Payton want in a receiver? And you know that what he wants is a willing blocker, someone who can help with the run game. That's why little Jordan Humphreys stayed on this team. And most people across the NFL are like, who's little Jordan Humphreys? And so you've seen that over the past couple seasons, Sean Payton has made runs at Allen Lazard. Now that his quarterback is gone, could the Broncos end up getting Allen Lazard for a good deal? That could be exciting as well, but definitely stay away from DK Metcalf. I would not be pumped about that. Other pieces I think of good news when you talk about the Broncos making the playoffs next year. I think the first piece of good news here is that the Raiders went and made Max Crosby the highest paid non-quarterback in all of football. And if you're asking me who that person should be, it should be Patrick Surtain. But we signed him last year, and so he's here for the next 3 years on a very team-friendly deal. He was the player of the year. He locks down an entire side of the field. And I think Max Crosby is kind of overhyped. I know he had a streak of sacking Broncos quarterbacks, but I just think this is great for the Broncos to have the Raiders be giving their cap space away to this, that he's making $35 per year. I just saw ESPN Advanced Analytic was showing that he makes something like $100,000 per day. He's making something like $40,000 per play. It's something just absolutely wild here, and they're locked into that. And you take a look here at the stats that Max Crosby, $35.5 million per year, over dudes like Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, and it's just great to see all these people in line who are going to keep getting deals that escalate and keep knocking each other down, and the Broncos have locked down the guys that we want to keep here on team-friendly deals. Other cool piece of news that happened in the AFC this week is that Joey Bosa was let go by the Chargers. So that team really is going to take a big step back next year. Like, we saw them limp out of the playoffs and Justin Herbert throw multiple interceptions in that game when it mattered the most. And now they're going to be without Bosa and without Khalil Mack. And I just feel great about that. And I can't help but take a look at this tweet by Sarah Bettinger and totally agree with it, that you look at the Chiefs trading a Pro Bowl guard and the Chargers cutting Joey Bosa. They are taking steps back, and you have Jeremy Fowler say the Broncos are going to be sneaky threats to spend big and keep getting better. They're taking steps back, and we are taking steps forward, and that's going to make you wildly exciting. Another team that I think took a wild step back is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, and with how good that division is, that's going to be a team that we're really competing with for a playoff spot, because the Ravens are going to be good. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers are always good. And so if that division gets 3 teams into the playoffs, that means we can only get 2 teams into the playoffs out of the AFC West. So I would love for one of these teams to fall off the map, and I think it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Their Achilles heel last year, they were able to put up Star Wars numbers on offense, but they couldn't stop anybody on defense. You saw that rookie Bo Nix, what he was able to step in and do, taking that team to overtime, scoring a touchdown was there a minute and 13 seconds left on the clock at that point, and he led the team down and tied the game and pushed it to overtime as a rookie, because that defense was pitiful. And the only bright spot of that entire defense was Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is on the way out because the Bengals this season are going to have to give top dollars to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And so that means you have no money to go anywhere else. And so you're looking here that the Bengals are making a bet on scoring 40 points a game. We know that's not a recipe for success in the NFL. There's never been a time when a Star Wars offense like that couldn't stop anyone. Most of the times they don't even make the playoffs, and they never make deep runs. So I think this is fantastic news, because not only will we be vying for a playoff spot against them, we also are going to have to play them in Denver next year, and I think that's great. Totally agree here with Brandon Cristal, who says, I'm not sure why you would even do this move. This is bad. You understand why Trey Hendrickson would want out of there. A lot of people wondering, should the Broncos make a run at Trey Hendrickson? Again, he's going to need a new deal. I like Bonito. I love Ellis. I love Jonathan Cooper. I love Dondre Tillman, and you got them on good deals right now. Love Zach Allen. I feel really good about our defense, and I would rather spend on offense. But let me know in the comments how you would feel. Would you be willing to entertain the thoughts of getting Trey Hendrickson, and what would you do for that? Last thing, we got to end with 2 pieces of fantastic news that just buck the trend. The first one is that Bo Nix is overdrafted and not good. You see the Senior Bowl come out and name him the co-offensive rookie of the year. Just absolutely love to see that. Imagine what he has next year in store for us. It is going to be a wild 5 years here with Bo Nix leading this team, and I cannot wait for it. The next thing is just this notion that Sean Payton is overhyped and not a great coach, and we are seeing multiple evidence points that just show how amazing he is. You see Patrick Surtain hop on the Rich Eisen show and tell a really funny story about a way that Sean Payton motivated him as a player, that they were about to play a game, and Sean Payton hung up the stat line of Devontae Parker in that game 2 years ago, the nightmare before Christmas, when the Patriots came in and beat us, and Pat Surtain didn't play his best game. And so to motivate him the whole next week before a big game, Sean Payton hung Devontae Parker's stat line on his nameplate. So you just see like Sean Payton is built different. He motivates in an incredible way, and he's not this tyrant that a lot of folks paint him out to be. He's an incredible coach. And if he wasn't such an incredible coach, why would every single person who worked with him in New Orleans want to come and coach with him in Denver? And then why would Super Bowl champion from Super Bowl 50, Todd Davis, agree to join his coaching staff, leave a sweet gig where he was killing it with content with DNVR? Todd Davis joins the Denver Broncos coaching staff, and I just think it's a great sign that Sean Payton is a fantastic coach, and he's a player magnet, and he's going to take this team on a deep, deep playoff run next year, and that's something we should all believe in. Last thing, my colleague went to Mexico and got this Nacho Libre Denver Broncos knockoff. It was only a couple pesos, but you know what? I just can't wait to think of all the amazing things that we'll do with this next year when we're deep in the playoffs, and I wear this for playoff streams. So Broncos country. Nacho Libre, and we've got a ton to Bo-LIEVE in. Oh, I needed it. Come on.